had, I had another dream that I think is saying the same thing as what my dreams have been saying recently that I had just last night. It was interesting.
They kind of add a three-dimensionality when we see them, because they're almost like, they provide a context for the other dreams, and a different point to look at a recurring theme. You have different points around it to look at it, and I don't think we would have understood it with just one dream.
Right.
So every dream that we have, even if it doesn't, don't worry if it's a recurring thing. That really is helpful.
Right. Well, basically the dream was like, I was able to like kind of look into the life of my therapist, who is a very attractive young woman that I really kind of like. And she, her boyfriend or husband or whatever is a pilot and makes tons of money in the dream. And, I just got this view into her life of, they're very wealthy and very happy. And then the next thing I know, I'm looking through like a window or something at my family who is gathered together without me, having like a great time. And I sort of like break down and become really emotional and start crying, and I rush to get dressed, and I end up hurting myself getting dressed because, who knows what this means, but I start getting dressed, and I start with my foot, but it's like I'm trying to dress my foot like I'm trying to dress a sandwich. I put 2 pieces of bread around my foot, and it for some reason hurts really bad. And I like cry out in pain, and that's all I remember.
I had a little bit of a confusion while you're talking. Could you tell me again what happened on the, okay, let me just go through it, and then, so I got it, because I had people walking in.
Okay.
Okay. I'm able to look into the life of my therapist. Now, what do you mean by that?
I don't know. It's like...
just able to kind of sort of watch it like a movie?
Yeah. And like I had some sort of just... It's like I wasn't
mind
even
reading
really
or able to somehow... You had it just... the life of the therapist suddenly became available to you, ego consciousness somehow.
Yeah. It was like being just animated before me, and I could see her and her partner, and I just knew everything all of a sudden.
And she is a young woman. She's very attractive. You are attracted to her. Yeah. Okay. And her husband is a pilot, and so he's very he has achieved a lot in the ego conscious world. So in other words, he's accomplished. He's sort of he has through somehow he's competent. He's competent in, like as the dude would say, the square world. He's very good in the square world. Okay. And because he's very good in the square world, he's compensated for it. So this allows the therapist woman a mate. Now, what else did you say about their relationship?
They're just very wealthy and happy.
Very wealthy and happy. So your ego conscious, you are attracted to the anima, or to this therapist, this woman of transformation. Let's say that, somebody who is a scientist of transformation, the feminine scientist of transformation. You're very attracted to her. She's very beautiful, and yet she's unavailable to us, to our ego consciousness, even though she seems like a being who we have an anima projection on. In other words, she's this being in the dream world who our anima projection has found a hook, on her, and yet she's unavailable to us. And the reason she's unavailable to us is that she is married to the world of competence in the outer world. So she's married to a being whose focus is competence in the outer world. So she's unavailable to us at this point because we can't compete with that. And yet our anima projection is still, that's the important part, has found a hook, and the fact that there isn't a lot of feminine of this type that I've seen in your dream, other than the one where the woman appears. Remember the woman that appears, and then the old woman says, "Do you like this woman?"
Yeah.
And then you said, "Yes, I do." And she says that you need new clothes if you're going to be worthy of her. In other words, you need a new ego attitude. The outer conscious attitude needs to be enhanced before she would be available to you. Okay. So that's sort of a similar motif, just on that part of the dream, don't you think? Yeah. A little bit. I mean, you liked that one. Now, where did she come from? The one that you saw, it was more of like you were running on all fours.
Yeah.
So you were running.
I was running around, and then I just kind of saw her, and I was like, oh, I should stand up and speak to her instead of run around like an animal.
Yeah. So the thing that beckoned her first was the fact that you had not only both feet on the ground, you had your hands on the earth. So you had assumed a connection with the rooted Muladhara world of physical reality. You were a person who had in at least the dream ego in this dream had a very close connection to the physical world of physical reality. Okay. And so she appears. Now, there's a hook there. The anima projection has found a hook. And then the wise old woman comes in, or the eternal feminine comes in, and she says, "Is this a potential mate for you?" And you say, "Yes, she would be. She is someone I would like to at least have a relationship with." Well, okay, but you need not only to have an intimate connection with the earth, but you need to have a your persona in the outer world needs a lot of adjustment before that's going to happen. So that's similar to this. Now, then I kind of got lost at that was the point where everybody started coming in. So at that point, you are, can you just review again what happened after that? Because it's quieted down in here now.
There's like a window or something I was looking through at my family who was having a get together without me, and they're all laughing and having fun and stuff. And I sort of broke down again in an emotional state, and then rushed to go get dressed. I'm getting dressed, and I go to put pieces of bread on my foot like it's a sandwich, and it ends up hurting my foot really bad.
Yeah. So you were actually we're just going to take this as an image. It's because it's very meaningful, but we don't know what it means yet. But anyway, we are when we make a sandwich, I mean, what we would be doing would be assimilating the feet into our conscious awareness. You know, so there would be an idea of that we need to assimilate, or you know, when we take anything into our mouths, we make it part of ourselves, part of our awareness or whatever. So it becomes part of us. So something that needs to become a part of us is our connection with the earth, which would be is it our feet or our legs? Is it your feet or
it's just my left foot?
Your left foot. Okay, that's important. Okay, so let's start with the second part of the dream. Now, the first part of the dream, I think, is similar to the dream of you running on all fours. I would say that the interesting thing about that is that in the first dream, this woman seemed like she was very close to nature. You know, you see her out in the woods in a pastoral scene, I think is what you described it as. You know, one where there was both woods, meadows, and houses. Isn't that right, or something?
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's a sort of a pastoral scene. Now, in this one, the one that our projection of our anima is have found the hook on is now, is she actually your analyst? She's actually doing analysis with her. You are now.
Yeah, well, she's a therapist. Yeah.
Okay, but you've had sessions with her?
Yeah, for a little over a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so again, we can't focus on her her subjective character in the outer world. We that's irrelevant right now. Okay. This is a psychic fact, something we can't catch with the butterfly net, as Jung says, you know. So it's a psychic fact that they're in a dream. This woman now is a representation of something in you. And the representation of something in you is the attractive feminine. And what is the quality of this attractive feminine? She is not just an attractive feminine and potentially transforming. She is a magician of transformation. That's her job, okay? But now she's also connected to the realm of spirit. So her husband is a master of the upper realms. So her husband, the pilot, is a master of the upper realms. He flies planes through, or he has his vehicle of consciousness is not a geo-tracker or a Ferrari. You know, it is something that is disconnected from the earth as a pilot. So this woman of transformation, maybe it isn't so important that she's unavailable to us. It is that she's married to a master of the spirit of the upper realms. Let's put it that way. You know, which would be logos and be the discerning meaning. Okay, so she represents a more earthly, transformational factor, and her husband represents a differentiating and meaning factor, logos. You know, he's up above, can look down. His color is blue because he's thinking, which is the color of sky, you know, and he has the ability to look down, and that's her consort. So she's this earthly, transforming magician, feminine magician. So she's sort of like the wise old woman, and her husband is the air being, you know, this one who orders things who discerns patterns, you know. Logos takes things apart and discerns patterns. Eros holds it all together, you know. So that is the first part. Okay. Then the second part of the dream now, from that. So we have seen a symbol of a, but there is a problem. Do you feel in that first part of the dream that there is a problematical, say, longing to be connected with the woman, but a sense that you can't connect with her? I mean, is that what you were referring to or not?
I think that, yeah, that applies.
You have a longing for her that is of a romantic character, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So really there is a longing to be with her, but, and I don't say that she's not available to you, other than her life is independent from you. She doesn't seem to reciprocate at all. The feelings that you have for her are not reciprocated at all. And she seems that she's content and happy in her world. I have the ability to look into the life of my therapist. You know, that's a very wonderful statement. Okay. First of all, it's very, it grabs your attention. Okay. So the second part now, this is interesting. So now in the first part, in actually both parts, you're an observer and not a participant. Okay. The first part, you're an observer. You have the ability to look into the life of your therapist, but you're not there. They don't even know you're there. You know, you just have the ability to see them. So you're almost, the dream ego is absent. It's just has knowledge of. Okay. Now, the second part is exactly the same. Okay. You're not there. You're seeing. Now, who are the members of this family? Is it your father and mother, or brothers and sisters?
It's like my mom and sister and aunts and uncles and stuff.
Okay. All right. So now you are looking at almost as a specter, as a ghost, someone who's dead, you know, the life going on without you. Okay. Now this is an interesting image, really. It is. I mean, it is something that is a little bit scary, but it's also is something that was a something that really was a converting moment for Ebenezer Scrooge, you know, in the Christmas story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that he was able to see what life was like without, as if he had never been born, you know, and that the fact that he could see what it would be like was a converting moment, because now, you know, I feel just saying this, a great pathos, you know, or something, a great sense of unformed regret, you know, that I can't really wrap my heads around now. but anyway, now. So the fact that the ego is then, say, enters a state of low libido. Now that's what I'm saying. Just another way of putting that you break down, that you fall to your knees. Okay, now isn't that happened like 3 times? Is that what you're actually doing? You're falling to your knees in, or what do you mean by breakdown? Exactly. Can you describe what happens?
I kind of just, yeah, I mean, I kind of just like fall, go from standing to just kind of, yeah, just on my knees, just kind of
totally disoriented.
Yeah.
Feeling a sense of like, I know when Albert Camus says that abandonment is a foretaste of death, you know. So, I mean, there's a sense in each one of these cases of that my lack of participation has a great expense to me. You know, I pay a great price for this lack of participation, and I'm experiencing the price now, and I don't like it, you know, and it seems to be sort of like we've missed the boat, or, you know, we've missed the opportunity. It's a lost opportunity that can't come back. You know, I mean, that's what I'm sensing is happening, you know, there. Now, I'm trying to look at this objectively. I hope I'm not being too brutal.
No, it's okay.
You know, but I'm trying to, I think the idea is to look at it objectively, you know, and then, so in other words, let's pretend that you didn't have this dream, and you're not really the dream ego anyway. I mean, you are represented as yourself in the dream ego, but that's not exactly you. And you know, the you that's talking to me right now has about 20 different centers. Okay, one center is that you can detach from every other aspect of yourself. Neti neti. I see this, that's me, yes, but it's not me, because I'm the witness. I see this aspect of me. Yes, I do that, but I'm not that, I'm the witness. So there is an aspect, is the more that we can be the witness of all of this that's going on around us, first of all, the more we can now operate with a different center of decision making and awareness than we could if we were, see now we're sitting in the arena watching ourselves. We're down in the arena fighting and wrestling and in the middle of getting pinned by something. It's a little bit difficult to look at things, you know, because it's so in the moment. But anyway, I mean, the aspect is let's just try to look at this as if it's someone else's dreams, is all I'm saying. Okay. All right. So and so don't, you know, I often I don't like to and this was what Emma Young told Frau Meyer, you know, who was C.A. Meyer's wife, when she came in and just was breaking down in front of her, you know, and during analysis. And Emma Young says, when she gets done, she looks at her and says, well, is this it? Not going to go on. It's all over. And she says, I don't know. Well, see what Frau Meyer said, that the Jungians, the ones that were working on this, all this, sort of the science of the psyche, didn't have a lot of patience for just getting lost in the emotional aspect, of something. So that's the idea here. I'm just throwing that out there. So we're looking at it objectively first. Later we can talk about practical steps, if any. Okay. All right. So anyway, both aspects of this dream is the first two, is that there is all kinds of activity going on, like from the Christmas story, that we're Ebenezer Scrooge with the ghost of Christmas past, going and looking and seeing things that are happening without us. Okay, so in this second aspect of the dream, we're looking at our family, and they are having a great time, right? How would you describe, what are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a celebratory
party. Yeah. And yet they can do it without you, They can celebrate and be happy even though you're not there. So again, it's a sense of, who am I, and what is my role here, And apparently won't be missed, too much if I'm not there, or something, So now in both cases here, the problem is that the dream is showing us that we're spectators in our own life. That's all it's saying right now. Let's just say that. It's just saying we're spectators. We're not participants, okay? So draw your own conclusions, I think, is what it's saying. Right. So then we go to the third part. Now we're in a rush to get dressed. For what?
So I could try to join them.
Oh, okay. So you wanted to become a participant, okay, in the family. Yeah, I missed it. You couldn't believe what was going on. I was trying to keep an eye on both sides of what was going on. Okay. Well, anyway, so we want to be a participant in the second aspect. Now, the first two aspects, from this, that, and then the scene of the transforming magician and her spirit husband, her spirit pilot husband. Now, he's not a deity. He's just a master of piloting the upper realms. That doesn't mean that he is the upper realms, or he is spirit. He's just a master of piloting it or navigating it, okay? And she is more a master of navigating the psychic realms nearer the earth. So there's these two sort of scouts. One scout is the scout of the upper realms, and the other scout is the scout of the psychic realms, which are the more chthonic realms, Lord. So you have two wise old beings. One is the wise old man, but he's not really the wise old man. I mean, he's a guide, a scout of the upper realms. There's nothing about him other than he's attained great value from this, from this ability, and that they are a complementary pair. That's what you could say about that. They're healthy and happy. By healthy, we mean that they are complete. They are completed and are being sustained by the fact that they are competent, or they are very good scouts. This is their role. This is their realm. But we're just observing it from the outside. So what we're kind of observing is inner dynamics. See, in other words, we need both of these to be active within us. We need the master guide of the upper realm to be active in us and this guide of the lower realms. We need a close relationship with them, and yet that we haven't really addressed, and I don't think that's an adequate statement, because there is a longing for this woman. Okay, then we get we see. Okay, this is a really good point, that now we are rushing to get dressed so that we can participate in this celebratory mood of the ancestors on earth. Okay, so now this is more an earthly thing. Up here, it's all about, what are we talking about in therapy, you know, with this woman? I mean, we're talking about, it's not participating, it's sort of a orienting confession. It's both a confessional, and if it's a Jungian therapy, it's not only going to have the confessional aspect, but it's going to have the transforming aspect, which is going to be moving the center of gravity of ego awareness closer or to the left and closer to the middle plane, and so that the inner voice is heard. Right over here on the right, ego as this falcon that can't hear the falconer. He does not hear the falconer. We need to hear the falconer again. So we need to become closer to the center plane. That's the second part of an analysis. The first part is what you probably, the only thing you've ever done with her is the confessional, which is just to describe the conscious attitude, to describe your week, describe your day, and then have her comment on it. What is she usually, what is her usual prescription or thought? Does she just listen, and then what does she say?
She almost says nothing. She almost says nothing. I really, you know, she tries to just use a lot of free association, just kind of let me talk and do my thing. And, you know, I'm the only thing that tomorrow is actually the last appointment that I have with her. I told her that I need to either stop going to therapy or find a new therapist or something. It's just that I've been using this drug since the whole COVID thing happened, called Kratom. It binds to the opiate receptors. So I've been on this since then. All she really tells me is that I need to get off that.
Yeah. Is she just a therapist, or is she a physician, or?
No, she's just a therapist.
Yeah. Who prescribed the drug?
No one. In Missouri, you can just buy it legally at like the CBD stores. They sell this stuff, and yeah, it's illegal for a reason in a lot of places. It's like being able to buy like Vicodin just over the counter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know if that's really. Do you feel that what effects does it have on you? I don't want to get into this, but
basically, it just kind of it can all be described as a numbing effect.
Just a numbing effect. Do you think this has anything to do with your periods of just of your great mood swings that you have? That sometimes you just are totally lethargic, and then other times you have seem to be very active.
Yeah, I know it has a lot to do with the like emotional burst out in dreams, where because everything is just suppressed because I'm so numb, like nothing can really get through to me.
Well, I think that's one of the bad things about I have nothing against THC or weed or whatever, you know, I mean, nothing against it. But the one aspect of it is that it is very numbing, and it tends to just,
I haven't done, though I just got a free sample of THC gummies. I haven't used THC or weed since not this past July, but the July beforehand, because it was really exacerbating my, to say that I wasn't grounded was a huge understatement. I was like literally just ready to just float away like a wisp and just never come back. And
well, that's the downside of it is, or it's really, especially at this point, you need to have a clear head.
Right. I mean, the last time I used, it was a huge overdose of THC, but last time I did it, I was like convinced that I understood exactly what the caduceus symbol meant, and that was used, that is a symbol that is brought about to wake up the next reincarnation of Christ. And since I discovered that might be me, and I mean, we're talking like that substance is very psychically powerful for me. It really puts me in I mean, I can't even operate. I just stay away from it.
And what Jung said about that is first of all, you did not earn those visions. Okay. You did not earn them. And secondly, that they put a great moral obligation on you. And if you were to actually have earned those visions without the THC, you had those visions, say, that the moral obligation they put on you would be immense.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, I find that people don't have, I mean, all these wonderful, now I do feel that there is some tendency in you that is responding to the dreams in it's slow process, but I do feel that I am hearing things from you that are that maybe this July or something you can get get even a 12-month course in something. I mean, how fast does 12 months go by? And just get your foot in the door somewhere. That the nature of some of these dreams would alter. Okay. But anyway, let's get back to the dream. Okay. I just was asking about what type of therapist she was. It's not important. I think in the dream, she is representing a transforming possibility. Although one of possibly, I don't know. The fact it's what we have to go, and it's going to take me a day to figure this out, is that the dream ego, first of all, is only observing this. And yet this person who's married to a guide of the upper realms, a navigator, a pilot, is sort of a navigator and pilot of whatever quality, at least that's her profession, of the psychic world, And that was I think what we got into that is the confessional aspect. Okay. So that's the two aspects that need to happen is the confessional. That should be the first half of the analytical period. And then the second half should consider the dreams, and they should link one session to the next one. I know Tony Wolff would have analysis 6 days a week.
Wow.
So she's really looking at it. I mean, I'm saying she had an analyst who she went to 6 days a week, and in addition to her own job. So anyway, what's interesting from that, okay, let's just go like this. So we see a inner, a being who has to do with our anima projection. Yet she is sort of a magical, is a magician of some type that is one who transforms the psyche, who has transformational aspect, who's married to the some person who's guide of the souls. Yet we're just observing them. There's no connection with us. She doesn't reciprocate at all our feelings for her, you know. And so there is a sense of this world we witness and we long for. And yet it's not, at least this aspect of it has some reciprocating power, but not the kind that we want. It's our therapist, okay? So she is working with us. But we don't want her just for therapy. We would like her to, okay. Now, here's something interesting. We have what is called a transference. Okay. You ever heard of a transference? Okay, well, the transference is this, is that that the same time that the analyst, if they're a good analyst, is awakening within you the transforming quality, we equate the treasure hard to attain we're unearthing with them. So the treasure hard to attain is not the one that we're unearthing in ourselves. It's them. No, it's not them. This is the treasure hard to attain here. But we feel it, we know it's the treasure hard to attain, but we don't really sense that it's within us. We think it's that person over here, you know, and especially if she's beautiful and everything. So what this pair represent really is the unearthing of the treasure hard to attain within us, you know. Yet we seem to be a little bit confused that the treasure hard to attain is them, not within us that's coming up. You know, analysis means to stir up what is below and bring it to the surface, okay, which is the treasure hard to attain. This is over here is the couple is the catalyst for that, of bringing that up in ourselves. And we know that it has magical transforming power. But we are, instead of realizing that that's what we're doing here, we're thinking, no, the magical transforming power is in her, not in me, you know. She's unearthing it. She's the catalyst for it, but for it coming up to the surface. But we say, no, it's not what's coming up to the surface. It's her. My union with her makes me whole and complete. Okay. Now, at your stage in life, there's some truth to that. You know, you don't really need the Philosopher's Stone right now. You do need a physical woman, you know, but you know, it needs to be one where there is a reciprocal love. You know, it can't be a one way. One way is illusion, you know. So anyway, so then now we move from that, and I think that there's some factors there that we've sort of given little hints about, don't you think? About that first part of the dream. We don't really know exactly what we're doing yet, but at least we've gotten some hints that we might pull together later in a more authentic fashion. Okay, so then we move into, we are now looking at the family through a plane of glass. So we're totally observers. They're having a celebratory a party. We're not part of it. We feel left out. And that causes us a great pain in our heart. Okay. So we suddenly, the psyche knows that it must become a part of this this circle of souls. See, we can't accomplish it as on the top of a mountain as a hermit. Okay, we can't accomplish it as this one who observes but doesn't participate. You know, over here with the catalyst to transformation couple, and we can't be one who just observes through a pane of glass over here. We need to be a part of the circle of souls. Okay. Oh yeah, we do. We don't have a choice. Okay. We must become a part of the circle of souls. We must be a soul, and we must have a relationship with another soul. You know, that's really the only way. You cannot become whole and complete as a hermit, okay, or as an isolated human being. And this is especially important, I think, right now with you personally. And it's not so much related to the family; it's more related to not your parents' family, but your own family. So I think what we're seeing here is not our parents' family. I think it's seeing our potential future family. And they're just a stand-in for what the ghost of Christmas future is showing us that we missed, you know. So this is what Ebenezer Scrooge is seeing he could have had, but doesn't yet, because he needs to do something. That's a really good story, you know, really it is, you know, about what it just is, you know. Let's just
Lewis Carroll.
No, it is Charles Dickens.
Oh, Charles Dickens. Okay.
Yeah. Ebenezer Scrooge and Christopher Marley and Little Tim. You know,
who's Lewis Carroll?
Lewis Carroll wrote Alice in Wonderland and
okay. Totally different person.
Yeah, and you know, 'twas brillig in the slithy toes, did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the borogoves and the mum raths out brave. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. You know. Anyway, that was his you know, book. But anyway, the so in other words, to get into our circle of souls, not our family of our brothers and sisters and our mother and father, but in our own family. The only way that we can accomplish this is to know the meaning of the caduceus, is to know that we need to assimilate our feet, which is our standpoint in the outer world, what we stand on the earth for. That standpoint needs to be assimilated, not just in the head, but in the heart. And we need to know that our feet are on the ground, okay? You know, and so it needs to be a sandwich. What better image is there of the fact that we need to realize we have, do you know that you have 2 feet? And apparently the dream maker thinks you don't. It thinks you are a decapitated head, you know, who doesn't know that you have 2 feet and that your feet are probably more important than your head, because they connect you with reality, with physical reality. Okay, unlike the head, it's totally disconnected from physical reality. You know, I mean, that's what Jung said: ideas, concepts, convictions, values. Those are not things you can catch with the butterfly net. You know, they're not physical realities. But your feet standing on the ground are. Assimilate those, dream ego. Know that these are the foundation of having that family that you only now see through a pane of glass. You know. Now, what was this deal about the pain in the feet?
Just for some reason, you know, doing that to my foot, it just hurt my foot really bad.
Yeah, because they were about to be assimilated. You know, I mean, they were about to be eaten. You know, I mean, or just there was going to be a deal of there was this one image of this. Well, you know, the I don't know how similar it is, but there was this one. I think Shiva or somebody created a monster that was going to eat another monster who was threatening Shiva, and Shiva, that monster finally succumbed to Shiva and stopped defending him. And then he said, "Okay, I'll let you go." And then this monster says, "Well, what about me?" He says, "You created me to eat him, and now I have nothing to eat. What am I supposed to do now?" And he says, "Eat yourself." You know, so he starts with his feet, and he eats until all that's left is the face of glory. And what Shiva said: anyone who does not honor that face is not one of my devotees. You know. But anyway, the idea I think is that let's try to pull them together now. Okay. When did you have this dream, by the way?
This is last night.
Oh, last night. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, there is this this thing about where there's really no dream ego. It's just the awareness of the ability to look into the life of your therapist. So it's sort of a look behind the scenes of the realm of transformation. And she's married to someone who pilots the upper realms. And we have a atom projection on her, but it appears to be a transference, you know, one that whether she knows she's doing it or not, she's awakening some aspect within us. But instead of us realizing that that is the object of the whole factor, she's just a catalyst, we think, no, it's her, you know. Well, she can't help it that she's your therapist and she's good looking and you think she's pretty, you know, because she's not reciprocating. She's totally happy in her world. So, you know, there's an aspect too of wasting time on someone who doesn't reciprocate because you're smitten, you know. I mean, it's horrible to be smitten in a one-way relationship and just keep hoping and hoping and hoping that that person is someday going to suddenly say, "Oh, okay, you're my man of my dreams." Well, I mean, how long is that going to go on? I mean, there has to be a certain amount of realism involved in that. And it's very difficult for one who's smitten to ever get over the magic of that sees that person.
This kind of happened somewhat recently because I think, you know, after it was plainly obvious that I would never talk to this Molly girl ever again, I was like, I don't know, just sort of the energy just sort of shifted over to my therapist.
Well, yeah, and
That's
now in both cases, you're doing exactly what I did for probably 2 or 3 decades. You know, it's just an unrealistic thing, you know. I mean, it's just unrealistic. Now, the only way that I could make it realistic was to assimilate my feet. Okay. I had to get my feet on the ground. And seriously, I mean, that was what suddenly when I did that, doors opened where there were no doors. And love came to me where before I sought it. And you know, everyone, I had this feeling that women would see in me a totally unsuitable mate, you know, because I was so airy-fairy, and they could tell. Well, even my grandfather's cousin told me that. In Norwegian, she told me that. Craig, you're up in the clouds. I have my feet on the ground. You must have your feet on the ground. It's like the dream is talking to me, but she's sitting right there. She knew me for about 5 minutes when she's telling me this.
Wow.
She says, I want you to go back to America, and the first woman you see, you will marry her. You know, that's what she told me. But now it took a few years to happen. But I mean, she was a real earth woman, you know, and she evidently had a sixth sense, and was able to kind of, you know, there was a guy named the Seer of Lublin who could just look at your forehead and look into the life of the therapist. He was able to do that. He was a Hasidic rabbi. And so everybody that came to him would wear their hats down here so that they could hide their lives from him. But anyway, the thing that was my problem is I would fall madly in love with unavailable women, you know, and their unavailableness and their totally not reciprocating my clumsy, awkward, stumbling attempts to get their attention, you know, was I wasted, you know, the best years of my life doing that, you know. So what was the answer? The answer is not to be this clumsy, awkward, incompetent suitor, you know. The answer is to be to first get my friggin' feet on the ground, to be earthbound, and then when these people like Beata, that was her name, would look at me, they seem to know whether you're earthbound or not earthbound. You don't have to tell them that. They can just look at you and tell. So when they look at you or look at me and they know that we are pueri eternuses who don't have feet, don't know we have feet, you know, they can't consider us as suitable fathers of their children, you know. It's not whether we're not suitable, because they need someone. It takes a lot of energy to raise a baby, you know, up to possibly until they're maybe 13 or 14. You know, that 13 or 14 years takes a lot of energy, and they need a lot of help to do it. And they can't get someone who's airy-fairy and doesn't have their feet on the ground. So I think the first thing is there is this unrealistic relationship in the first aspect. And then in the second aspect is the very realistic look into what your life could be at one point. Now, like the wise old woman dressing you for the woman that you met on running on hands and feet wants to dress you, you need to rush to get dressed to participate in this thing that right now all you can do is see it through a glass. Like Ebenezer Scrooge, you can just see it through glass. There's no human connection there. So you're rushing to get dressed. Just like the woman that's dressing you for the woman you see in that you are interested in here, you know. But you're rushing to get dressed. But somehow the dream says, Charles, it's not going to help to get dressed until you assimilate your feet. Your feet are your sandwich. You know, your feet need to be in your head too. Because your head and your feet are totally disconnected. You don't even know you got it. You know, and you're not going to know you got it until you have a holy mass, until you have a communion. And the priest brings you the bread with your feet on them. Take this and become me, you know, become your feet. It's really a ritual of, it's a holy ritual. And it really is. How do you do this? How do you assimilate your feet? I mean, because apparently it's very important. It's more important than getting dressed. So, you know, we've had two images now of to participate in this potential biological existence that we're longing for. We need a new persona attitude. You know, we need to get dressed better than we are now. What's wrong with your dress when you're looking through the window? Why can't you go dressed like that? No, you've got to rush to get dressed. Why? What's wrong with the clothes you got on then? Before? What? Do you remember what you were wearing?
No.
Well, what do you got to get dressed for? You know, I mean, apparently the clothes you have on are not adequate to becoming a member of this group, okay? And yet, no, that's not the important thing here. The important thing in here is to have a holy communion. The bread is the host, represents the transforming spirit. And it is to envelop your feet like a sandwich. And so you assimilate your feet. And that's what getting dressed means. That's what the wise old woman in the first dream meant too. You must assimilate your connection with the earth. And that was symbolized by the fact that you don't run on just 2 feet, you run on your hands too. You decapitated head, you know, this is not working until you are participating with outer world reality, not only by assimilating your feet and realizing you have feet, but with your hands too. It's not, this world is not available to you. In other words, there's a certain amount of sense of urgency here. You know, I mean, not a sense of urgency, but a sense of emphasis that that we're not getting it or something. So the idea, I think, is that we need to be able to access this realm. You know, we need to we need to assimilate our feet, and we need to use our hands like feet too. We need to assimilate our feet, and our hands need to become feet, and our feet need to be in our head. We need to ingest them, and they need to become part of us, you know. So I'd say, what do you think? I know.
Part of me just thinks that I can't go through all of my life and not like go through this. I feel like I just sort of, I'm gonna like a withering effect is sort of happening, and that I just I don't know. I just had this very unrealistic view of life, and you know, my grandpa would always say, when I was living with him, he'd just like, "You're just floating. You're just floating." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, I don't know what you mean." And yeah, I more so know what he means now. Just like, you're just not doing anything. He's like, "Why don't you care about like what's like?" He's just like, "You just have no life, basically. You're just floating around. Why don't you care? Why aren't you like doing something?" And I was like, "I don't even know. It's, you know, it's all I've ever known is to just sort of float around." But now it's getting to the point where like,
yeah, the window is closing. The sun is going down. It's about the womb of the barren crone is about ready to envelop us, where we will no longer be able to bear fruit. You know.
Yeah, now, it's starting to cause.
Well, one thing
cause pain.
Yeah, and it is cause pain. It does cause pain. Now, one of the things that Roy said that I thought was instructive was, I mean, there's nothing about you that it's not that hard, I guess is the point. And what he's saying, what is hard? Showing up. You know?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing. You just set up a program for 2 years, and I'm thinking that with the new administration, there's going to be some kind of attempt to provide vocational assistance to people. Okay, but the idea is to just set something up and then show up, not show up for the first time in our lives with seriousness and you know, I went over this 100 times with you. I mean, it's just the fact that we come with an earnestness, that has an attitude where we get up in the morning and we get down and on our knees and we beg God to give us the strength to make every minute productive today, to fill every minute, fill it to the brim with our attention and our efforts, and that we can develop this habit so that no longer do we have to push ourselves to do it, that the habit drags us. You know, I mean, once, you know, usually they say it takes 2 or 3 days to form a habit, you know, so you do it, fill every minute with productive, active, with a guiding principle for 3 or 4 days, and then you let that guide you. So now it's not you that's guiding the effort, it is the habit, the good habit that we've developed. But I do think it needs a devotional aspect. Now, if we add that devotional aspect, and if we do it we're assimilating our feet, you know, and we're also just showing up, you know, we just show up. Now the thing is that after we start to do this, then we are answering some of the questions your grandfather had, and also some of the questions that Beata had for me, you know, that, and my father would say to me, you know, he'd say, you have delusions of grandeur, you know, and that really meant, you know, that I was up in the air. I was just floating, basically exactly what you're saying. But I would say that as far as the transformational aspect right now, there needs to be a holy choir in the background singing while you go forward with this as if you are Parsifal pursuing the Holy Grail.
Right.
You know, and you need to go with that attitude, and you need to take your ego, move it over here. And then your personality number 2 needs to sit down and ask for the help of non-ego and of nature to accomplish this. And what we're attempting to accomplish is to have our biological rhizome emerge above the earth, to unite with another, a feminine aspect, and to have a family with them. Let the money take care of itself later. But at least to let that happen. And I think now, you know, are the dreams really being that specific? No, they're not. But I think the implications and of the dreams and of your own pain that you're suffering, and of viewing this celebration through a pane of glass and breaking down, of seeing the sun go down, almost get ready to set and breaking down, of seeing the vehicle of ego consciousness gutted with no steering wheel, and who would do this? You know, that's us. We're looking at ourselves. So who did it? That's us. You know, we need to find the keys to the Ferrari. You know, there's no problem with the dynamism of the Ferrari or its guiding principle. But how do we get the keys? We have to go into the Father realm. What's the Father realm? It's the realm of action. It's the realm of showing up, being responsible, and not being floating around anymore, of assimilating our feet, ingesting and digesting our feet, and not doing it just without realizing the immensely profound message that is giving us, that this is a holy communion. This is every bit the same. And in the Catholic Church, this truly was what they believed, and we can laugh at it. But they said that when you eat the host, you are eating the actual, or you're ingesting. Let's say you're assimilating. It's not code cannibalism here, but you're assimilating the physical aspect of the Christ, of the transforming being. And so now you become the Christ. Or now in this case, what we're doing is we're becoming the feet. You know, it was interesting. That was something that Abraham Joshua Heschel said one time, to pray with your feet.
Like that.
You know, isn't that an interesting thing to say?
That's pretty great.
Yeah, I mean,
like that.
And yeah, in other words, how do you pray with your feet? Every step is a prayer. So when you walk into the guidance counselor's office, you don't walk in as shuffling Charles Austin. You walk in with each step as a prayer. You know, and what is a prayer? It's asking for nature helpers. The ego can't help me now. You know, help. You know, step in. Horse that knows the way. Step in that aspect of me that's going to lead me forward when I know my ego can't do it anymore. You know, in other words, Dawn's rocket, when she's piloting it, just goes parallel to the ground, doesn't do anything. We need to pray with our feet, you know.
Right.
So, anyway, I think it's a beautiful dream. I think we need to remember, I think the things that we need to do with every dream is first, and I was telling this to Dawn too, because she thought that when I said to send her some dreams personally, because I didn't think we had time to discuss them all and be fair to everybody, she thought I was saying that, you know, don't just send me these made up dreams that you just made up.
Oh, no.
That they're phony, fake, and I don't want you to bring fake dreams into this.
Well, she's very negative towards herself.
Yes. Well, I said, no, that's not what I meant at all. I mean, I just meant that they were so beautiful. I mean, here you have Ishtar and Inanna with blue fire coming out, blue smoke coming out of their mouth. You know, so it's just something. I just said that, Dawn, your dreams are very important. We need to discuss your dreams. We don't have enough time to discuss them all. Send me a couple, and so we can get a series going, you know, in other words. But I mean, the idea I think that we all need to do is to, you know, you have to be, first of all, you have to cherish this as the most genuine aspect of yourself. There is nothing that we have that is more genuine and speaks the truth than these dreams.
Yeah.
They speak, they're the only thing we have that doesn't lie, that isn't superficial, that isn't just 10 miles wide and 1 inch deep.
Right.
You know? Right. So, and then we need to grateful to the psyche for its generosity in sending us this message. And it has two things it wants us to do, two things it can't do, but only we can do. And that is, one, to be the medium of expression of this dream. And that is without words, we need to express this dream somehow. Usually in art. And what Jung says, I mean, I've seen some of you can go get, you know, drawings you've done just like that. That means you value them very highly, you know, just where they are. You can pull them up and show them to us immediately. Once you've done that, Jung said, you will never be the same. It changed you forever, that, especially the coloring of it. After you color it, draw it is one thing, but when you color it, then you join the heart to the head. Okay, so it's a very color, and the emotional aspect is the heart speaking, not the head. The head doesn't care what color it is. It's just looking for the general outlines. The heart is very interested in all of the colors. Okay, then that's the wordless aspect of it. And what Jung said is that, you will never be the same. Neither will the dream. The dreams will respond to what you've done. So it's leading somewhere, because you've been changed, the dreams changed, something changed overall. So then that is, and what Joseph Campbell says, and where it's going, not even God knows. But anyway, so that's the first aspect, is being it's medium expression of it. And then the second aspect is to circumambulate it with words. That's what we're doing right now. We're circumambulating it with words, which, what is a word? I mean, what we're trying to do is to express some concept of meaning that eventually, not at first and maybe not ever, resonates as much as the medium of expression of the drawing, but that doesn't need words, resonates. So the idea is to provide resonance to this numinous power, and you say, not only did I draw that, but I circumambulated it 7 times with all of my attention. And after the 7th time, it suddenly seemed, how many times does it take us to go through the 3 parts of your dream right now? And I don't think we're done. I mean, I think we'd need to do, if we really wanted to do justice to this dream, it would take another session,
Right.
And also to have a drawing, and then to discuss the colors that you used in the drawing, and things like that. But anyway, I think what we need to do is to assimilate our feet and pray with our feet, and to use our hands too, because we need a new garb in the outer world. We need a new standpoint in the outer world. Our head needs to know that we have feet, and our feet and our standpoint is the most important part of our existence on earth. You can really do without your head. I mean, you've done without your feet for so long that, the longer we do without our feet, that is what the lost opportunity is. We will not realize the opportunity until we put 2 pieces of bread on our feet and symbolically assimilate it into our head and our heart, that we need to have both feet on the ground, not only both feet on the ground, but both hands on the ground. And that's the way we need to move through the world, But anyway, why don't we kind of summarize this? If you can write it down. Well, I got it kind of written down, but
yeah,
we can also, I'd like to address this next on Monday, and we'll just kind of go over it, see if you have any more thoughts about it,
okay,
and see if I have any more thoughts about it. Sometimes if you can give me a text on it, I break it down sentence by sentence, and then for each sentence or each image, I just write something, and I don't even know why I'm writing it, but it's sort of like that deal with the rock reading, that you do 2. You look at the rock and you see 2 things on this side. You just, I see that little bump there looks like this, and that little bump there says like that, and then my question was that I was asking the rock is, why do I see so many emaciated dogs in my dreams? And then I'd see a tree and say, what does tree say about why you see a maybe emaciated dog? And so, then you'd see maybe a lunar landscape. What does the lunar landscape have to say about the emaciated dog? And then you do it through 4 sides. You'd combine 2 of them. You combine each side, Then you combine two sides, and then you combine the other two sides, then you combine the whole thing, and then that was your dream interpretation. You know, it really works, you know, but
I'm gonna, there are some more details that I could add to the dream.
Yeah,
so
why
I'll
don't
make
you?
sure to, I'll put
yes,
it in a more
try to just draw it up, and then just give me a chance, because I think when I do it that line by line thing, things come up. I think, you know, the hand has a different, you know, forming aspect than my voice does, you know. So so we'll get a little bit of a different nuance when we either type or write what comes up from that image. But anyway, that's very interesting, Charles. And again, on all of these, you know, I tend not to act like I tend to, you know, that we're men here discussing this thing, and we're going to remain objective about it. We're going to look at ourselves as if we're the physician treating the patient. So we need to remain objective here. And then our patient is our struggling ego over here, which we have a close connection to. But in our physician role, we need to be pretty objective about it. Unless, the physician thinks that there's something important that hasn't been said, or that our physician role is being a little overly brutal. And also remember, too, that I'm a pretty impractical person, too. So you need to keep that in mind. I mean, that's what the one thing I think Gary and Roy provide a little bit is they're a little more down to earth than I am. Well, anyway, very interesting, Charles. And please get that to me, because I think it'll be an interesting to bring it out and maybe hear what some other people have to say.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do some work on it.
All right. Well, have a wonderful weekend, Charles.
All right, you too.
Okay.
Thanks, Craig.
See you soon.
See you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.